Good morning. So there's not enough Dungeon Crawl Classics videos on YouTube. I know that Dungeons and Dragons is the brand name that's becoming synonymous with role-playing games, the way that Band-Aid has become synonymous with self-adhesive bandage strips. But there are a lot of great systems out there. Most people have heard of Dungeons and Dragons. People that actually have heard a little bit more about role-playing games have heard about Pathfinder or some other systems. But there's a lot of great systems out there. Tales of Equestria is a fun system. Savage World's a great system. I'm a big fan of the D6 systems like Fantasy Age, Dragon Age, Blue Rose, that all kind of tie together. But the one that I've been looking at and playing around with, and I'm setting up to run at a shop near me soon, is Dungeon Crawl Classics. It's a great, simple, old school system that's really easy to teach and really easy to run, which is what I'm looking for when I'm going to play at a shop. I'm gonna be the judge or the dungeon master, game master. Dungeon Crawl Classic calls it the judge. I'm the person running this game. I need to be able to get it on the table quickly with a bunch of people that don't understand what's going on, and get them through the basics and get them playing, and then teach them as we play. And I like Dungeon Crawl Classics how it approaches that. I like the fact that in Dungeon Crawl Classics, you start off with this kind of meat grinder, level 0 funnel, where you're not an adventurer. You didn't just decide ahead of time to be a sorcerer or a thief or even an elf or a halfling. You start with these really simple random dice rolls that create the basic stats, and then they recommend you make 4 or 5 characters, 3 or 4 or 5 characters. And then when you go through, each player has 4 or 5 characters in front of them, so that when you go through that first 0 level dungeon or adventure, where you are just a regular peasant that's run off to join um, the heroes, but has no idea what they're doing, most of them are going to die. And so by having each player control 3 or 4 characters, what it winds up doing is being completely random, completely chaotic, but the characters they merge are stronger for the experience and better equipped for the experience. And I really like that. Also like working with pre-generated sheets, which is fairly easy to do. But the actual setting up the sheet itself is fairly simple. The main core book explains there's a lot of resources to kind of you get through that. But basically, you're going to roll D6 each of the main categories and get numbers plugged in. Um, there's a chart in the main book that shows some of the quick start guides that show you whatever you rolled between 3 and 18 on these 3d6s, and then what that modifier is. Um, I'm going to probably run pre-gen characters, which I've made ahead of time. I've got used purplesorcerer.com, which is a neat resource to set up the ones you see in front of you. I like that because it's just nice, neat, clean. I've got bad handwriting. I also like it because I was able to create 20 pages for characters apiece fairly quickly, so that I've got a big stack. I lay them face down, have the player just grab one, and I'm also going, since I printed mine in black and white, I'm going to highlight the column of the modifiers and probably the armor class and HP, kind of the pieces I'm going to be asking them about over and over again. I'm going to go ahead and highlight those, and I'll walk them through what all the pieces mean, all these notes, the equipment, where the weapons are, the different saves, the D20 ruling, the level 0 adventure. After they get out of the level 0 adventure, then they can level up. Whatever surviving characters can level up and actually become full heroes fairly randomly. But since the characters tend to die fairly quickly in Dungeon Crawl Classics, you're not really stuck with them for 2 or 3 years of a campaign, and you're playing through a few adventures. And when these characters die, you're placing more characters. Another wave of adventurers in training can come up behind it. So I really like the kind of simplicity of these characters. I think I'm gonna use pre-gens at the local comic book store. We'll set up a time. I'm gonna run them through sailors on the Starless Sea, a level 0 adventure, which I've got in front of me, which is awesome. I like it because it starts off with rumors. and then you're basically all the characters are in a mob running to find out what happened to the townspeople or what's really going on, and find the truth. And I like that mob aspect because should all of the characters get wiped out in a single player, the next wave of the mob can come through, and I can just randomly throw 4 more characters at my player and let them just be reinforcements struggling through. The other thing I'm going to do to kind of speed it up, trying to get into a 2-hour session. I'm not sure we can finish the entire Starless Sea in that time, but the other thing I'm going to do to kind of speed it up a little bit is I'm going to give them all a page of 4 pre-gen characters because of Purple Sorcerer. I'm going to immediately tell them to kill one of the characters. Just take the one they don't like, the one that's got the weakest looking stats to them, where they're just doing something goofy, they don't want to be a herder, and just cross that one off. And then divide up those weapons and equipment pieces between the remaining 3 characters to kind of give them the idea that once somebody dies, you loot them, you keep moving. We're going to leave bodies where they may. There's a really high chance that I'm going to wipe out every player's character. That happens fairly commonly in Dungeon Crawl Classics, which I find is a strength. It can bother some players, but I think it's kind of neat. I hate nerfing to try to keep them alive. I'd just soon kill them and move on. And because they're so fast to generate and they're so fast to play, it just seems to make sense to me. So I'm going to be charting behind the judges screen where the bodies drop, because one of the things that can happen is that dead bodies can become more of these vine horror monsters. So I'm going to chart where the bodies drop so that if I kill everybody and we have to take another run at it with completely new sets of mob characters in a second or third wave, I'm going to let some of the bodies of the characters that they just inhabited come after them. So I think it's kind of neat. So I like the kind of flexibility of this system. I like the fact that it kind of runs quickly to some degree. You can make of it what you want, but I love the fact that it makes it really easy to set up convention characters, or in my case, comic book store characters. So I just wanted to share and kind of praise that. More information about Dungeon Crawl Classics, then check out goodmangames.com, which is kind of the main starting point. After that, there's a lot of great resources all over the internet about this system. So, it just needs to be more on YouTube, so I want to make a quick video. Thank you.